One thing I'm doing differently to heal my toxic shame is to take the appropriate amount of responsibility for a contribution or a conflict. And the reason it's hard to take the appropriate amount of responsibility is because growing up, chances are, if you have toxic shame, that your parents use guilt trips to manipulate you into agreeing that something was all your fault. So I want to call out guilt trips are very abusive because they take advantage of the fact that you are dependent on your parents. You need to feel that connection to feel like you're alive. And when that connection is not there, you feel like you're dying. And so you'll agree with anything, you'll do and say anything to get back to that connection because your survival feels like it's on the line. It is very abusive, and I want to call it out. So the issue is later in life, if you're in a relationship with your partner and a conflict arises, when they're triggered, it can be easy to revert you to that state, and then you're taking full responsibility for everything. So one way to prevent this is to regulate yourself so you can be more discerning and more aware and listen to what your partner has to say. But this is also a reminder to kind of like notice, like, say you do get triggered and you're like, oh, it's all my fault. To begin paying attention, like, does your partner take responsibility for anything? Or do they agree with you? Like, do they say, well, that's not fair to say, like, I did this, right? Do they take some ownership? Or do they just keep coming on the attack? Because the issue is if they do that and you're unable to regulate yourself, you have them convincing you that it's all your fault, teaming up with your inner shame that's convincing you that it's all your fault. And what do you think is going to happen? That's going to be the story that you guys create. And then at some point when the relationship no longer works, because that's pretty dysfunctional, it's not going to last forever, and your partner leaves, what are they going to tell everyone? Oh, it was all their fault. Yeah, it was all their fault. I tried everything. I did everything I could. Except admit, take any responsibility for anything, right? So I know that's a little extreme, but what I noticed also is a lot of people don't understand toxic shame. So when I posted my video and it went viral, there was a lot of support. But what I noticed is like outsiders don't understand toxic shame and insiders don't. Why? Because outsiders, they see toxic and they think the person's toxic. Like, oh yeah, of course you ruined your relationship. Of course it was all your fault. Man, how lucky is that your ex for leaving you? Like, you've got toxic shame, right? Of course it was all your fault. But the thing is, people with toxic shame think the same thing because they're sitting there like, oh man, I get it. Yeah, I ruined my relationship too. It was all my fault. But that's the toxic shame speaking. It is never like that. So I just want to bring awareness. It takes two people to create a relationship. It is not ever exclusively one person's fault. And it's really important to get to a place where you guys can take responsibility for what's yours and what's not yours. Specifically, what's not yours. Please stop taking on responsibility for things that are not yours.